Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by F.A.N. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann, and this is the award-winning fan show and yet another edition of our CGS mini-series specials that we have done annually now, last year and now this year. This year, of course, leading up to the big College Gridiron Showcase 2020, the 6th annual event, and with me is one of the co-founders, the other co-founder. We had Jose on already. He is Craig Red. Craig, how you doing, man?
Doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. Christmas time has now become an even more exciting time of the year because we get to really be in the home stretch in the countdown to another amazing College Gridiron Showcase event. So it's kind of like Christmas twice. You know, you have Christmas now and then that first week of January. Would you agree?
Yeah, I can't believe we're already here. I mean, we're about a week earlier than normal, but it's kind of surreal that we're already, about 12 days out. So
yeah,
very surreal.
It's crunch time for you guys, and of course I talked to Jose, and he's the duck on the pond, right? Everything above the surface looks calm and collected, but then below, those legs are just they're churning away. What about for you? Like, how do you wear your emotions? Like, where would you say your level of preparation and stress are meeting right now?
They're there. It's the perfect storm. It's there. It's a good stress, but it's just a perfect storm. Trying to finish out the end of the rosters, trying to get the best players we still can get in there, because a lot of guys are just finishing up their bowl games now, or just coming up to their bowl games. So still a few guys who haven't that we've invited that haven't accepted yet, but want to accept and going to as soon as their season's over, and then trying to deal with rooming lists and flight plans and holidays for our families. So it really is kind of the perfect storm, but this is why we do this, and this is really quite honestly the fun part of the year, and when it all finally comes together.
Yeah, your guys' big part of the calendar year is the very first part of it. I know that when it comes to seasons and times of year, I mean, depending on what sport you're a fan of, I mean, if you're a baseball fan, then you have your season all year long, and it's during an actual calendar year. But if you're an NBA or an NFL fan, then your season carries from one calendar year to the next. For you guys, your big thing starts right at the beginning of a calendar year. Like, what's it like knowing that you spend a whole year building up to the beginning of the next year?
Quite honestly, it's a bit of relief now that we're getting close to it, because we put so much energy into it throughout the year that we finally get to see the fruits of our labor. But it takes a full year to get to this point. It's not something people might think that you throw an all-star game together, but it literally takes all year. I think we start from CGS 2019 till time we kick off our 6th year. We took maybe a week off, Jose and I, and then we started the planning process after we kind of had a chance to regroup. We started the planning process again about a week and a half after the event ended last year. So it really goes into a full year of, hey, what about this? What do you think about this? What about this idea? Maybe we can switch this up and make it better, by doing this. It takes all year long to go through that.
Yeah, I imagine it's no easy feat, and that's why you guys get started so early. But I do love that the calendar year and the college football offseason really kicks off with CGS. I was curious, as obviously one of the guys who does a lot of the work in that time from right after one event leading up to the next. So the example would be the Pro Bowl. Here's an event that you have all these guys that are voted on and selected, and then of course you have their alternates, and the reason you have their alternates is because of injury or guys that maybe don't want to participate. or it's for the guys that get selected that go and play in the Super Bowl and they're not available for that event. So the Pro Bowl is one where you don't know all of who's going to be there or all of really what's going to happen until like the week of. For you guys, what is that one element of the showcase that you can't help but it doesn't happen, it doesn't come together until like the week or two leading up to it?
I think you just named it. I mean, it's very similar because you don't know what bowl, especially this year, you don't know what bowl games. All the bowl games are later this year, and they're almost a week later than normal.
Oh, wow.
So you don't know. Yeah, I mean, so you don't know what kids are going to be available. I mean, we have some players that have been invited, that have accepted, that have bowl games January 2nd. They report on the 3rd or 4th. So you don't know. So you don't know who's going to get injured, who might be there, who might just say, you know, my body's physically worn down, I can't make it. So we go through this similar process where we have alternates. We have a waiting list of players who are well-deserving players, but we're kind of left on hold. And, you know, there's always a pecking order to the bowl game, you know, to the All-Star games. And we understand where we are. I mean, we're one of the 4 majors, but, you know, every kid is trying to wait for the Senior Bowl or the East-West Shrine. So sometimes they try to leave us waiting, and we can't wait. So we move on to the next best player who might be as equally rated as that player. And, you know, that process gets very, very frustrating. And it causes a lot of anxiety because it's like, okay, when is this player going to accept, or is this player going to accept? And, you know, we need to give this other player enough time to get out to Texas. And so, you know, we need answers, and it's frustrating because, you know, we have to wait.
Yeah, and I would imagine that there's certain elements of this that you just can't help like that, and hopefully it's just the one element. Granted, it's a very important element of the event, but I'd like to think that, you know, you guys are going into your 6th one of these. Can you recall the earlier years? Was there something that you guys tried to do and that you have since either done or scrapped altogether because it just was not an added stress that you wanted at that time? Like, is there anything that you learned the hard way in those early years?
Flying players in.
Oh boy.
Our first year we did that. Obviously our rosters weren't as big as they are now. Because, you know, again, we've learned and, you know, we've added. So that's one of the things we've added. We've added to our rosters. We added, you know, a second group. Last year we added a third and fourth group with the specialists and our small college group. But, you know, our first year we flew players in, and we can't do it. I mean, without, you know, candy money like the Senior Bowl or, you know, money that the Shriners have, just realistic, you can't do it. It's hard. So, you know, we scrapped that, and we weren't sure how it was going to go because, again, we're always trying to push the envelope and change things. And, you know, I think we changed that process a little bit, and thank goodness, you know, the agent community saw, and the players even saw kind of what we bring to the table, and were okay, you know, allowed us to make that change because they saw that we had scouts there. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want to be in front of scouts, and they saw that we were really getting the people that we were saying was going to be there. So they kind of took it upon themselves to be willing to fly themselves in.
Yeah, I think there's certain things like that where you either can or you can't. And if you guys can't,
right.
I think that as long as, and I don't even feel like making up for it in a different area is the right term, because it almost sounds to me like that would be what you would put under the category of a luxury. It's a luxury to be able to fly players in. And as long as you guys are providing what I saw last year, which was a platform, informational seminars, and then, of course, the skills training and the scrimmage at the end. I mean, how you get there, if that's on the player, I mean, really, is that really going to sour somebody's whole outlook on what could be a life-changing experience just because they have to figure out their own way to get there? I don't think so. But I am curious, though, that since you mentioned it, like, what would it take for you guys to get that? Like, is that a sponsorship thing, or is that you've got to find money somewhere else and it would have to just all be devoted to that sole purpose?
I think it's probably a major sponsorship thing.
Gotcha.
I mean, that to me, that's what's keeping us from, and maybe this is me being so close to it, but I don't think we're far from being the second game, quite honestly. And I think we get the right sponsorship. I think we can put ourselves in that position, because if you talk to scouts and you talk to the professionals in this business, we're right there. We're right, people look at our rosters, and we haven't released them yet for this year, and the scouts who have seen it believe we're right there, where our roster is as competitive as the East-West Shrine and the PA.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the last missing component, I think.
Yeah,
and we'll get there. I mean, I do believe we'll get there.
I believe that you will too. I talked with Don Povia on the last series special, and basically he thought that you guys had a great gig going for you. It produced a lot of successful players. We talked about Brady Oliveira up in Winnipeg playing for the Blue Bombers. Yep. Granted, he did get injured and didn't see a whole lot of playing time. He's still being very active in the community up there. Same with Jody Fortson for the Chiefs, Alexander Hollins for the Vikings. I mean, these are guys that, they're practice squad or they were injured or something, but yet because they're still part of a team, they're still being as active as possible. And I think that a lot of people look at your event like it's supposed to be something to separate, the cream from the rest, that it's these guys that have maybe been overlooked. This is a chance to get them to shine, but it's really so much more than that. And that's why you guys have the seminars. That's why you guys have the informative, information that you guys put out there as far as what to expect with the path to the draft and where your money goes further in different markets. So really, there's a lot more to it than that. And I think that helps attract the caliber of player and athlete that you guys want to see. Every guest that I've talked to, I always ask, what sold you on CGS? And obviously you're one of the co-founders, and we talked about sponsorship and how you're very close to, I think, getting over a certain hump and reaching that next level, whatever that may be. So how do you sell CGS? Like, if you were to find out that you had a meeting with, or a phone call even, with a potential sponsor that could help do that travel, like how would you word it to pitch it that it's an opportunity that they can't pass up?
I mean, I think it's not even just the on-field stuff, because, that's one thing. But we have players. I'll drop a few other names. I know you dropped a bunch of players that, Don gave you. We have Adam Butler, a starter for the Patriots. Sebastian Joseph Day, starter for the Rams. Trevor Williams, starter for the Chargers. Jakeem Grant, a key contributor for Miami. We have a lot of players who are getting a lot of reps at the NFL level, and we're going to put sponsors in front of, this year I think we're going to have somewhere between 300 and 325 players. We have 70 guys in the NFL right now. We have a lot of great stories, so it's not even just their basic sponsorship, but, with the documentary stuff that we have going. We have so many great stories that these companies can be a part of and grow with these guys. I saw something probably about a month ago. 31.7% of the NFL is made up of undrafted free agents.
Yeah,
that's who we're talking about. We're talking about the majority of the players who come to CGS are late round priority free agent guys. You're going to get in front of a lot of players who are going to stick in the league and who are probably going to be in the league longer than, the first, second, third round guys. And that's because they're going to have time to develop. But these guys are going to be around the league for beyond the average 3.25 years. they're going to be around for a long time. So you have a chance to build your brand or continue your brand with some really great young men who are going to be around for a long time and who are going to be great contributors on and off the field. And that's a good thing to be part of, being part of that story, which everyone's looking for now. Everyone wants that great story, and the players that we have are great stories because they all have reasons. I mean, I remember Jody last year, and you might remember, and Jose was telling me, on the field, Jody went up and caught a ball in the end zone against the guy and said, "You don't know my hardship. You don't know what I've been through. I came through junior college." And Jose said he almost fell on the ground laughing because Jody felt that. You know, he felt that pain of, you're not going to take my chance from me.
Yeah.
And that's what those guys are all about. And I think being a part of that and being a part of such a great story and how we're hopefully making a difference for these guys, that's something I would think people want to be a part of.
I agree with that as well. I think that you guys, the sponsors that you have are ones that I would call sponsors for life. Like, I've talked to some of them. They believe in what you guys do there. I think it was even Willie Pyle, who's not a sponsor, but he said, I think he said it best, that you guys aren't necessarily better than the Shrine Games or the East-West Bowls or the All-Star Games. You've just found a way to accomplish what they set out to do in a different way. And I like that hit me deep because I've always tried to figure out the best way to describe what CGS is, and I think that's the perfect way. It's not a better way. It's not a worse way. It's just an alternative way to accomplish a similar goal. And so for you guys to go out there with that big sponsor or not, I think a big sponsor is patiently waiting to be a part of CGS, because who would want to pass up on the chance to be part of those stories and, of course, a part of something different, not even necessarily special, but just different. So I think you guys are definitely there, and I'm very excited for what the 2020 6th annual event brings in just a few short weeks.
It's going to be fun. So as T.O. said, get your popcorn ready. I think we really have a lot of great stories and a lot of great athletes and a lot of players that, again, every year we scratch our heads like, how did people miss on this kid? How did Senior Bowl or East-West just not consider this kid? And we feel lucky that we have a lot of players that we have. And honestly, this kid's coming out of our small college group. I'm excited about what we had. I mean, last year we had 10 guys move up. This year, I mean, we're probably going to take about 10 again, but I think we have 15 to 20, maybe more, that can move up. Guys who probably belong in our other group and we just don't have room, or there's just something about them that they need to kind of show the scouts a little bit more. But I'm excited about that group. I mean, we have a lot of All-Americans in that group that, want to prove themselves and want to get that chance. And, I feel very fortunate that we can give them that platform to give them that chance.
And I wholeheartedly agree. I can't wait to see the crop of talent that you guys get down there this year. Of course, Jose speaks very highly of them, but he does every year. And I think he believes exactly what he says,
we do.
Every season. I don't think it's something where it's just like, you're saying what people want to hear, which is this event will be better than last year's. I know that you guys full on believe that this event will be better than last year's, and last year's was better than the year before. So you guys keep doing what you're doing. I know that it's Christmas Eve, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to thank you for joining me as we continue the countdown to a new year and a new CGS 2020.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're a part of this ride, and look forward to seeing you in about 10 or 11 days.
All right. Well, hey, safe travels to you. I'm very excited about it. We'll see how this event goes. But one more time for Craig Redd, co-founder of College Gridiron Showcase. You have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, Craig.
Same to you and same to everyone out there.
All right. Thank you.